Diré. After I studied fine arts, I found jewelry by accident, but somehow, because in fine arts I was doing sculpture, but I never did a sculpture because it was too big. So with jewelry it was exactly the size I was interested to do. I mean, the body was a limit that helped me to create. In to wear or not to wear, my idea was to work in exactly same forms and same color, but different materials. Usually it's, I try to work with really basic forms and basic ideas, and then I was curious to see what happened if I make one form in one material and then same form and same color in opposite material, and see what happened with both, if they were looking the same. So I thought they were looking the same, but now I don't see they look the same. But it's about perception. So it's if we see what we recognize, maybe it's we have idea of the world, how we perceive the world. So it's all these kind of thoughts that I somehow repeat. So we think we understand reality how it is, but I'm really interested that reality is how we see, but maybe it's different from another person. So it's like creating a bit, not a fake, but suggest some kind of wall and see that everybody can see it different. It's actually is what art makes. It's trying to represent the world, but in a really basic way. This project begins with porcelain course I was doing, and porcelain is white, so I thought I take white as a basic stuff, like in porcelain it's a base, after you can color, but white is like the less, and I always try to work with less. I hope I get it, but I try, and then with white it was the less of the less. Yeah, the idea was to reduce, that it's what I do also with forms, to like the minimum. After I try with black also, that it's just the contrary, and I liked also this contrast. For me, metal is comfort area. I work already so many years with gold, but then when I start the course, that it doesn't mean finish, because in the middle came this pandemic time, I start to imagine things what I was learning at the beginning. And in this point, I thought, oh wow, this is mold's wall. Then what I can use for porcelain, I can use for other kind of materials that are same kind of they have same kind of characteristics, like liquid materials that after become like dry, and then they are one form inside the model and the mold, and then this was like an invitation not only to use porcelain, so it became this idea that okay, then I can not only work with porcelain. This means another way of building jewels, and then I can introduce other materials. And I was curious. I was like, okay, let's go out of my control area, that it's metal, and let's try to make research. And actually it's what I did most, research. Yeah, FAT was an invitation to make exhibition in Tokyo. So, and they have my work in gold, so I thought, okay, I should work with gold. And then I start with same idea that to wear or not to wear. I thought to make like with exactly same forms, with different kind of wire pattern. Like you can decide to make triangle shape or oval or round, different. And the idea was to repeat exactly the same, but with different wire. And in rings and bracelets, things became almost the same. You should really go closer, because the other part that was unified, it was the grams. So all rings were exactly half gram. And with earrings, what happened, that I think it was the most exciting part that I couldn't expect, it's what happened with to wear or not to wear, it's that maybe one half gram of triangle shape, it's like this, but then with oval, it's like this. So it has reason. I mean, it's normal, but I didn't think this. And then I was like, oh, wow, now I have to make same shape, but this is like this and this is like this. Then the shape also changed. And it was not exactly the same, but it was, the beginning was the same. So with gold, in that moment, also I learned to work gold in another methodology that I didn't work before. And for this also I wanted to introduce other materials when I had this new chance to come here to Tallinn and exhibit in this nice museum, that I was curious also to see what kind of methodology it will come, but because it's always a surprising. I work with geometry because I try to make simple things. This is my intention. I think geometry is the base of art in general. It's not me, it's like everywhere in the base there is geometry. It's natural, it's the natural part of the world also. Even in how the plants grow has geometry, the fractal chaos, and so it's all about, maybe it's also an obsession. I am not perfect at all working. I mean, there are people that they are super clean, and I am a bit more free in this kind, but then I thought, okay, I use machine, that is lathe machine, this kind of industrial machine and then I'm going to make really perfect prototypes, and from these prototypes I'm going to make molds, and from these molds I'm going to make different materials. This was my beginning thought. But after happened that all became with porcelain cores. So with porcelain I didn't know that you cannot make ring, I mean you can, but it's worst if you make ring with hull, because porcelain reduce 15% from one form like this, you became one form like this. And with a hull of the ring, then it can broke. That I bring some example here at the first ring I made. And this means that at the end the prototypes were full forms that I had to empty by hand. And then I made a lot of rings, and they are all from the same base, but they are made different because they are made by hand. But after this process of porcelain became to make molds, because ones are molds by clay to make porcelain, but after are molds in silicone to make other materials. So it's a different process. And then I had to choose one prototype of each design. So I made 5 designs that they are round bodies, like cylinder, circumference, circle, dab, like point, and sphere. And from that 5 designs, I made 3 size in 2 and 2 size in 3. It happened. And then this means 12 molds, that I bring the 12 molds that are the basic of the other 3 materials, that it's silicone, polyurethane gum, and then resin. And surprisingly, they look not exactly the same, although they are the same. Maybe it's the color. I'm not sure. Maybe it's that I am too in. I'm very curious to get feedback of what people get. At the end, the process is the reason of all. What surprised me more is the methodology, that I discovered methodology that I didn't know. So it's like I build up the methodology, I use the methodology, and then when I am making this methodology for some time, I am amazed that it didn't exist before what I was doing, and now it's here, and it's not mine. It exists, but I just saw it, and then I took it. But it's a weird feeling. It happened with fact, with gold, that I was like, oh wow, before this didn't exist, because it has some really specific way of working. And with this also, it's one way of working. And I get really interested about it. I like the results, and I like to wear the jewels, and I enjoy to get feedback. But the magical part is to live all this process, all this way of working. The results also, but it's some kind of magical thing to live. I am a teacher as well, and I say to my students, okay, depends the door you knock. You are an artist, or you are a designer, or you are a craft worker. I really don't care. I mean, I know what I do, and everybody, I think all it's in same level. It depends of what you want to do, and also the door you knock. But because I also work with really reducing the forms and taking out all the things we don't need, usually in jewelry world they look me like designer, because my pieces are really basic and you can wear them. But my process is more from a conception, and then the process, it's more research. It's not that I have solutions for things like design. Actually, I create this, my designs create problems, not solve problems, because I work always with fragility also, and then means that sometimes it's not good design if it's design, because it breaks. But it's also the way that you take care of the things, and it's one position. I don't know. It's like you have to take care of your family or your friends or life. You have to take care of things. So with my jewels, you have to take care also. And if not, you can come to visit me and I can repair. I do also. Not with porcelain. To make jewels has a sense to wear them. And I was not so comfortable with a way so many years ago. I didn't feel myself like I want to wear jewels. So I started to make this really small jewelry that I could identify, because you have to discover. It's not that it's obvious. Now I think I lose a bit this kind of relationship with jewelry, because it's so many years already. But in that time, to work with a small, that is what I made in Kunstiakadeemia, means to make really fragile jewelry. But then became this thing that this is a characteristic in my work. And in this way, I like, so many times somebody tells me, what are you doing? And I say, I make jewels. And then they say, I don't wear jewelry. And then I say, then maybe you are my client. Because all these people who likes my kind of jewelry, they never go to buy jewelry. And I say, this is my problem also. I think I have public, but it's not so easy to find. And from this, it's not an obsession, but when I start this porcelain course, I said to my teacher, I would like to make rings by porcelain. And then she said, these are going to break. I said, I'm really interested about this. And then I thought, okay, I can do very big stuff, but it's gonna be the same breakable that the thin gold stuff I do. And in this way, it was a window to open to work in a different way, because it has this kind of fragility, and then it's easy to understand, but also you can wear. For me, it's important that pieces are to wear, and if you don't wear, it's more like it's another thing for me. But I understand that sometimes it's also nice to be free of not having this beginning of wearing. So it's that it's my way to create jewelry, that I always think of wearing. And now with this idea that porcelain rings can break easily, it became this title, to wear or not to wear, because it's up to you, but also because if you wear the same model in silicone, you can break, but in a completely different way. You can break because you can make it bigger, but not like with some kind of boom. And yeah, for me it's important jewelry to wear. I like to wear them. It's the basic. And in this point, I mean, Adorno said art has no function. We make jewels, some kind of jewelry people, they don't want to get inside this obligation of wearing, but I think everything is good. You can decide whatever, but to wear is not something that it's less. It's something that can be the same. I wouldn't say more, it doesn't matter, but I would say not less. So it's funny because when I studied in Kunstiakadeemia, I made my final project, and at the end of the year, I showed to my teachers, and they were like, it's super interesting, you have really Mediterranean style. And then I went back to Spain, and my teachers there said, it's super interesting, you have really Nordic style. And I was like, okay, everybody says it's interesting, this is nice, but nobody feels that it's from the place. And somehow I had this freedom that I didn't have maybe in my school. So maybe it's because I was foreigner. I'm not sure if it's about the school or it's about how we feel in every place. No? But somehow it's I don't know. I spent 10 months here, and I make friends, because Estonians are really like, if you are friend, you are friend. And I am some kind of same way. I have one Estonian friend that she speaks Spanish, and she says I am the most weird Spanish girl she never met, and she's super open on this, and I said, you are the most weird Estonian person I ever met. So it's a bit like, somehow I feel that there is some kind of basic connection that makes that, and I don't know, then I start to come because I made exhibition here, and then I came back to make artist in residence, and then I came back because I wanted to see my friends, and then next year, after 4 years, I was like, okay, now I have to go back, because last year it's already 1 year. And now it's 15 years like this, and last year I didn't come because pandemic wall, and after 2 years I am here again, but I spent my summer here, finally. Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's family at the end.